Stremski with a pop-up. And this should do it. Right side of the infield. It's going to be Olsen calling for it. He'll put it away. And for the Giants, a sixth consecutive loss. Braves never looked back after that 5-run first. Giant starter Hayden Birdsong did not record an out in his start. And Atlanta goes on to win by a final score of 9-5.
Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Welcome into a Monday night Sports Phone KNBR show with Bill Lasky, and it's not going to be a fun night. I'm going to tell you right now, this team lost focus, and they lost it as soon as the second half started. They lost 2 to the LA Dodgers before the All-Star break, a couple, tight games that they could have won with a key hit or not, but they didn't. So they get the All-Star break off. They go up to Toronto. They hit 11 hits the first night. No, they get shut out 4-0. They come back Saturday and lose 6-3. They lose Sunday 8-6. They get swept in Toronto, a long flight to Atlanta. And today I'm going to use the word focus because that word was not used in that dugout today. Focus wasn't there. It started with Hayden Birdsong, 3-0 on the first hitter, 3-0 on the second hitter, 3-0 on the third hitter. What the hell was this kid doing? 25 pitches he threw, 6 for strikes. 25 pitches, 6 for strikes, and leaves after he hits Murphy. Total disaster of this 23-year-old kid. He never pitched from July 6th was his last start. 15 days ago, he was on the hill for the Giants against the Athletics. There was nothing in him, but he was clueless on the mound. He couldn't throw a strike. He couldn't throw an off-speed pitch. His secondary pitches are gone. When you look at this kid, 23 years old, Hayden Birdsong, for his last 7 starts, 1 and 2, 27 and 2/3 innings, 8.13 earned run average, 28 strikeouts, 25 walks. There is nothing that this kid is going to do but go to AAA. There is nothing here that you can continue to keep him pushing out at the big league level. It was a disaster. 5 runs in the first inning. And mostly all of those were on Birdsong's walk and hits batsman. But it just doesn't stop there. It continues on non-focus from the outfield, from missing a fly ball to left center field between Jung-Hoo Lee and Elliot Ramos, from missing a play when Ramos overthrew Willie Adames on a base hit. Things like this were just unraveling for the Giants today. When you look at the more defense, the hustle play, no hustle from Jung-Hoo Lee. And you see Acuna scoring from first base on a base hit. He ran in, just threw it into second. Willie Adames didn't even know anything was happening behind him, and Acuna scores from first base. Where was the focus? No focus. I go back into pitching. Camilo Duvall, 3-2 pitch clock violation, ball 4. Doesn't even watch Profar at first base, stolen second base. He gets another walk, a balk. Now it's second and third. Where is the focus here, San Francisco Giants fans? Because it's not on the field with the San Francisco Giants team. 6 straight losses. They're going south. They're not even coming up to breathe. This team needs something. They need some life. I don't know how they're going to get through this. They have 2 more games in Atlanta. And what happens today? You just flushed your whole bullpen because Hayden Birdsong couldn't get an out. You go with Gage, Bivens, Beck, Walker, and Duvall. They had to eat up 8 innings of work. Now you got Landon Roop and Justin Verlander to go in the next couple games, and you maybe have a few arms down there, but there's going to be some changes tonight. There's no question. They need some support in the bullpen after this clunker by Hayden Birdsong. Focus. First and second, 1 out. They only scored 1 run. First and second, 1 out. They only scored 1 run. First and second, no outs in the third. They don't score. 2 on, 1 out in the fifth. They only score 1. 2 on, 1 out in the sixth, and they don't score. This is not focus. This isn't a winning team. 9 walks by the pitchers, 8 hits. The Atlanta Braves were 12 games under 500 coming into tonight. 12 games, and they looked like they were 52 and 48 like the Giants. They didn't look like a team that was 12 under. And they weren't going to sit on this. They were pounding the ball as much as they could. Why would they? You look at Profar for stealing second base in the ninth inning with a 9-5 or 9-4 lead. Why not? Your pitcher's not even looking over there. Mistakes, mental mistakes, focus. This team needs to wake up. My name's Bill Lasky. Let's get the phone lines 415-808-KNBR. Let me hear what you have to say tonight, because I'm not happy what I saw tonight. I'm not happy what I've seen for the last 6 games. They're on a 6-game losing streak. Something's got to wake up here. Focus, focus, focus. That's what I want. Some better baseball. Let's take a break, come back with more on the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
He was kind of teetering the last time and found a way through it. Today he couldn't, unfortunately. So, put us in a little bit of a bind with the pitching, obviously, and how we had to cover this game. But, not ideal, and kind of back to square one with him as far as some of the command issues go.
Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Back on KNBR on a Monday night. Giants lose today 9-5. They've lost 6 straight games. They've lost 4 straight the second half. Bob Melvin talking about Hayden Birdsong. He just looked lost out there today as an ex-pitcher in my caliber here in big leagues. A young kid that went out there with so many thoughts in his head, so many things he worked on the side when you haven't pitched for 15 days. And I think he was just puzzled. I don't think he knew what the hell he wanted to throw. When he threw it, it seemed like he was getting the ball back and just getting on the mound and throwing it. There was no concentration, and I went back in the beginning, there was no focus. And he really took this Giants team and the bullpen out of the game completely. He goes 0 outs, and he faced 6 hitters. That was it. 6 hitters, 4 walks and a hits batsman and and a double. It was just to a point where it was hard to watch. It was hard, I know, for Bob Melvin and J.P. Martinez, who were watching this kid warm up and work through the time, and it's just not working. The only way you can fix this is he'll have to go to AAA. He'll have to go to Sacramento and try to figure it out down there. There's no way this kid can continue to pitch at the big league level when you're talking about the numbers I threw out there earlier, over an 8-point earned run average in 7 starts. But then what comes next? Carson Wisenhunt, maybe? You don't really have another guy ready. There's another young arm coming up. These are questions they're going to go over tonight. There's going to be a lot of things happening tonight in Atlanta with the brass. Bob Melvin, Buster Posey, J.P. Martinez, who are they going to bring up? They had to cover 8 innings out of their bullpen tonight, and they pitched a lot in Toronto. Bivens back-to-back games. He was on fumes today. He ended up going an inning and 2/3. You could see his pitches were starting to get flat at the end. Tristan Beck, another nice inning and a third. Ryan Walker gives up 1 run. It should have never been a run. That was a misplay ball with Ramos and Jung-Hoo Lee. Duvall ends up walking 2 guys, some mental mistakes from him. It was not a clean game for the San Francisco Giants. The defense sputtered, many mental mistakes. And now what's next? 6-game losing streak. How do you change this? Landon Roop on the hill against Davis Daniel. It's going to be another one of these games. There's going to be a lot of stress. There's going to be pressure on these guys. How can they mount an attack? How can this defense get better? Well, I'm going to ask all of you tonight, 415-808-KNBR, how can this team get from the 6-game losing streak and change the momentum? Let's go to Peter in Modesto. Allows Peter first. How are you doing tonight, Peter?
Hey, Bill. I'm usually Peter from San Jose, but I'm driving over here for work.
Oh, that's okay.
How you doing?
A tough game tonight, Peter. It really was a terrible game in all aspects for the Giants.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know what to say about you said focus, and I totally agree with you, but I think that some of that has to be on Melvin. Again, I get their big leaguers.
What could Melvin do different? Let me ask you this, Peter. What could Bob Melvin do differently?
Well, not him maybe individually, but him and the coaching staff. They've lost 6 in a row. There's maybe something they could say to them. I know they're all professionals, but Hayden Birdsong, one you mentioned, is not a seasoned veteran. Maybe there's less of an excuse for the veteran. But I don't know.
I think he put so much pressure on himself today, trying to go out there and trying to be the old Hayden Birdsong, and he's not there. For the last 7 starts, he has not been focused and throwing strikes. You saw him in middle parts of these games in the innings where he had walked 2 or 3 guys. He walked in Arizona 10 straight balls. Today, first 3 hitters, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. That's why I say there was no focus. There was no determination in throwing a strike. Let me power one in here. And that was unwatchable for me, Peter, as an ex-pitcher.
No, I understand. He was very non-competitive. I mean, that he has to own that. I'm not totally blaming Melvin. Because I agreed with you on the focus, and sometimes when the players lack focus, yes, they are major leaguers. They have to have a lot of responsibility. But
Yeah.
I just think
Well,
some of that.
let's ask you this, Peter. Let me ask you this, Peter. You're going to work. You have to concentrate on your job. You have to focus on your job. When you don't, what happens? Your boss is going to say, hey, what's going on today, Peter? And I think that's what half of these coaches are asking these guys today, especially Elliot Ramos. Elliot Ramos in playing left field is getting to be a disaster. It looks like he's scared if a ball's hit to him now. He's making bad routes for the ball, lobbing the ball over Willie Adames' head. He was the last one in the dugout sitting there tonight. A friend of mine was at the game. He took a picture of it. Everybody cleared out. He was the last one with his head down in the dugout. If you don't think he's stressing out, if you don't think this young player is putting too much pressure on himself, I think he is.
No, yeah, definitely, Bill. I'm just glad Adames is doing a lot better. Hopefully when we start winning.
I'm too. Yeah, and I really haven't talked about the positives. I'm dwelling on the negatives, but boy, he hit the hell out of the ball today, Peter. 4 for 5 on this road trip, 7 for 16 with 3 home runs, hitting .230 now, definitely hitting the ball a lot better, seeing the ball better, the swing pass right on it. Of course, Matt Chapman, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Flores had 2 hits. A couple of them are still struggling. Mike Yastrzemski 0 for 5 today. He's 1 for 12 on this road trip. Same thing with Schmidt. Schmidt's 2 for 13 on this road trip. A couple are getting hot. A couple of them haven't. All right. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate it. Let's go to Brian in Modesto. Brian, you're on Sports Phone KNBR on a Monday night with Bill Lasky. A tough loss. The Giants have now lost 6 in a row.
Well, I have to tell you, Bill, I've been rooting for this team since 1976, and that's the worst starting pitching performance I have ever seen by a Giant.
I've never seen anything like that. Never. And you know what, even in the minor leagues, even when A-ball and AA and AAA, guys throw strikes. I would have rather seen him give up 6 straight hits than, 4 walks and a hits batsman. He was just non-competitive today.
Do you think that Hayden Birdsong busted his rear end to get to the big leagues and then stopped busting it?
No, I don't think so. I really think at 23 years old, I think he thought he was much better than what he was. And I think the confidence factor and the curveball, the changeup, went right out the door. Didn't throw one curveball today. Threw a couple changeups. Those were his 2 secondary pitches that he was masterful on. The fastball, he couldn't even throw a fastball for a strike. Everything I saw today looked like a scared pitcher in my mind.
If he wants to stay in the big leagues, mentally everything has to even out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to toughen up. That's just the way.
That's the only way you're going to stay in the big leagues, because you get exposed real quick, Brian. And you know this, watching so much baseball, you get exposed on bad pitching. You get exposed on walks. You get exposed on not throwing strikes after strikes. And he got exposed the worst of all his outings today. That was the very worst. He never, ever had an outing like that before. No pitchers have. I can't imagine, of all the pitchers that I've watched pitch, I cannot remember one pitcher that struggled like that in the first inning.
Well, maybe this is a blessing, because maybe he'll get really angry at himself.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he'll say to himself, I'm never going to get embarrassed like this again. Even if he has to go back down to
you feel sorry for him, Brian. You do feel sorry for the kid because he's 23 years old. I feel really sorry. I have interviewed him several times. He's a great kid. He's knowledgeable. He knows the game. But sometimes that head between the ears affects you. Sometimes all those voices in your head start talking to you. All the side work where he felt, hey, I feel good, and my ball's coming out of my hand. All that work he did, he tried to do it in the first inning. And once he walked the first hitter, even Javi Lopez, Dave Fleming said, that's not a good sign. That is not something we want to see out of Hayden Birdsong. And he continued to do it. 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. The first 3 hitters, 3-0. Even Acuna didn't even swing. He took his bat right out just to see if the ball was going to be a strike. It wasn't a strike. So you're not going to have hitters swinging at it. Of course you got 3 free passes. You gave him a free rally. And what happens out of that, I thought Matt Gage came in and did a hell of a job. That ball that was a base hit something, or a spin went over Chapman. He would have got out of that inning 1-2-3, but it didn't happen. The Giants, go behind 5-0, Brian, and 5-0 in Atlanta is not a lot, but yet it was tonight.
Well, I hope that Hayden takes away the fact that Acuna laid his bat off his shoulder is showing him up. I really hope that he thinks that Acuna showed him up. Because I don't know about him. I don't know about young Hayden, but that would piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
And
things like that do piss you off. There's no question, Brian. It does. And you know what? You're looking at the umpire, John Lipka, and there was a couple tight pitches. Javi said it, and as a major league pitcher, when you're throwing balls, it doesn't matter how close that pitch is. It better be a full strike because they're not going to give it to you. And John Lipka was not helping Hayden Birdsong out at all. You saw Bailey trying to squeeze a couple, pull a couple off the corner, one low, try to pull it up. It wasn't working. And it really hurt the Giants. It hurt the bullpen. You heard Bob Melvin talking about it. It disaster of the bullpen now. They had to cover 8 innings out of the bullpen. And you have Roop and Verlander the next 2 starts. So they're going to make some changes. They'll have some new arms in the bullpen, maybe. I don't know what they're thinking, but they're going to have to find a 5th starter because Hayden Birdsong cannot go out there again.
Well, Buster's going to really have a talk with some of these players and really show them what it means to compete.
Well, you heard my first word, Brian, focus. That's what I want to see. Focus on good defense, focus on good pitching, and get a win. That's what's going to stop all this. But thanks for the call tonight, Brian. I appreciate it. Let's go to John in Santa Rosa. John, you're on Sports Phone on a Monday night with Bill Lasky. Tough 6 losses, but the Giants fans are still trying to rally behind him.
You know, Bill, this actually started before the All-Star break. We should have beat the Dodgers. We should have swept them. You know, we beat the Phillies 2-3. The Dodgers come into town. We only win 1. And the Dodgers are scuffling right now. Then we head out to Toronto. And I know Toronto's a good team, but it seems like the Giants have taken, you know, like they're going to take the rest of the season off. And I don't blame Melvin. I don't blame any of the coaches. These players are getting paid a lot of money. They all got to look in the mirror and decide what they're going to do because, you know, it's not the coach's fault. It's the players. They got to, like you said.
Yeah,
they
and most of the time, John, when these things happen, you have a players meeting. If Bob Melvin doesn't have his own meeting, he was upset. You could see him walking up and down that step. You're seeing the steam coming off him. He's not happy the way the team's playing. He's not happy of how this is happening in front of him, especially a 23-year-old kid that he put a lot of trust in and gave him an opportunity from the bullpen to be a starting pitcher. He's looking at all this going, where am I going to fit more puzzle pieces in? Because these puzzle pieces are falling out of the picture that we're supposed to, you know, get in the wild card and possibly beat the Dodgers in the NL West. And now they're only 3 games over 500. 3 games only. So this has to change or we're going to watch this team go straight south. And I don't want to see that. This team can play. This team is competitive. Their pitching staff is good. But something got off of the rail here. Something fell off the rail on this train. And somehow, some way, they got to get the wheels back on it.
Bill, I know we've talked about Verlander all season, but why are we still letting him out there? I mean, he's going to pitch Thursday. I have no confidence in Verlander at all at this point. Why are we still letting him out there?
Well, they signed him. They gave him $15 million. They're going to give him every opportunity they can. He's in the starting rotation. He feels healthy. The spin rates are there. The velocity's at 95. I've been talking about the secondary pitches. He is throwing them, but he's throwing them at different times where he should be throwing more fastballs when he's ahead of hitters. And he got hurt with the curveball that wasn't down in the zone a couple times. He's been hurt with the 0-2 pitches, trying to sneak something by a guy, and they've been roping him. Different scenarios in these games that he's pitched, he has not put away that pitch that he should have. The put-away pitch, that last guy to get that out. And he's been chased several times.
Well, hopefully tomorrow it changes. Thanks, Bill.
Yep, I appreciate your call, John. And, you know, the whole key here is, yeah, we're all upset. Yes, we are not happy with a 6-game losing streak. And you want to watch every game. I'm right there right now. 4:15 tomorrow, I'll be watching Landon Roop throw the first pitch, and so will you. But what are we going to see from today to tomorrow? Are we going to see some changes? Are we going to see better focus? We might see a Ramos sitting and a Matos out there, a right-handers pitching. We see Jung-Hoo Lee. But what we saw tonight was not focus. It wasn't good focus. Misplayed balls, a fly ball that drops in, Acuna scoring from first base cannot happen. Those are things that really get magnified in a game like this. All the walks by Hayden Birdsong, giving up 5 runs in the first inning. It is very difficult to watch these games when they're like that. And there's no question that coaching staff, Bob Melvin, Buster Posey, are not happy with the results. We'll take a quick break, come back with more. Got phone calls on the hold, 415-808-KNBR. I'm Bill Lasky. We'll be right back on the Sports Leader.
This is Sports Phone KNBR. Dial the digits or send us a text at 415-808-KNBR. We're streaming on YouTube all damn day at KNBR 1045.
Casey's got to let him know when he gets up. You know, if Chappie's trying to yell, you know, it's just, you know, Casey's still kind of learning the position too. It's just a bad look when you're playing like that and something like that happens in a game like this where we look terrible. So just another instance today that was not a good look for us.
Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Back on Sports Phone KNBR on a Monday night, Bob Melvin talking about the play where Acuna scored from first base on a little bloop into right center field, a base hit. He never stopped running, ran right through the stop sign. What Bob Melvin was talking about, Willie Adames had his back toward home plate. Casey Schmidt was kind of hanging around the bag, but he wasn't watching a runner. You saw Matt Chapman pointing to Acuna running third, and it was just too late. By the time Willie Adames caught it and turned and threw, it was a nice throw, but it was just too late. What Bob Melvin was saying was the communication that Willie Adames had to watch, and he should have been communicating with Adames when he caught the ball. And you just heard what Bob Melvin said. That was just one of many mistakes that happened today. So the Giants now have lost 6 in a row. They're 52-49. The numbers are not looking good for this team right now. The last 50 games, they're 23-27. That's 21st out of 30 teams. Runs per game, 3.5. That's 30th. That's the lowest runs per game of any team. Average runners in scoring position, .193, not even hitting 200, 30th of all teams. Now you're looking at team of 30th. You're talking the Rockies, the Nationals, the Athletics, Baltimore Orioles, and Pittsburgh Pirates. These are teams that are hitting better than the Giants, and yet the Giants are 3 games over 500. On the pitching side, the team earned run average over the last 50 games, 3.8. That's 12th out of 30 teams. The starters earned run average 3.9, 10th. So all these numbers have gone up. The bullpen still is number 1, but they're just, a couple points under the San Diego Padres. The bullpen in the last 50 games, 3.6, 12th overall. So now we're starting to look at some numbers of how this team has fared in their last 50 games. And since the All-Star break, this team has lost 4 in a row. And today, as I brought the show open, it was focused. This team was not focused going into Atlanta. I think they looked at 43-55 and said, hey, we just play an average game. We can beat them. You can't look like that. You cannot expect playing teams that are under 500. It's a cakewalk. We saw that losing 2 out of 3 of the White Sox. We saw the Marlins come in here and sweep them in 3. This team's got to get better. And I think we all want this team to get better. We want this team to win some more. We want Rafael Devers to lead them in hitting. He hit the ball well today, 2 for 4, a couple base hits and a walk. Willie Adames is getting hot. We saw how much that hurt this team the first couple months. Chapman's starting to hit the ball a little bit better, but the focus has to be complete. It has to be defense, pitching, offense. It has to be better. And if they're going to change the route that they're on, it has to stop. The only way it can stop is to play a better brand of baseball. Play better tomorrow. Do the little things. Do the little things to make outs. Do the little things on defense to make that play. So we'll see how it turns over, but 6 straight losses when they were 50, now they're 52-49 is tough to swallow as a Giants fan. And I'm right there with you. All right, let's go to Jacob. He's in Visalia. Jacob, you're on Sports Phone with Bill Lasky on a Monday. What'd you see tonight, Jacob?
Hey, what's up, Bill? How you doing? Thanks for your time again. Well, I agree with you on multiple
thanks for calling
points.
in. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Focus, and man, it was just painful to watch. The first thing all yesterday when I found out Birdsong was going to pitch again. That first pitch means a lot. And I've seen him the past 5 starts going past that. It's just, they're wild. And then when he came out today, throwing strikes low, throwing them real low, and I just had a feeling like, no way, he's not going to do this again. And then sure enough, 3 balls.
3-0, 3-0, 3-0. That was the killer.
3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And then he did hit some on the
Yes.
borderline, but you said it earlier. They're not going to give you that call. They're not.
No.
They
And
didn't. They
you
didn't
talked
give it,
about it, overthrowing maybe a couple fastballs, Jacob. Maybe the ball was sailing on him, but then you saw Bailey. You said it. He threw a couple changeups in there, threw a couple sliders in there just to mix it up. Still nothing there. There was nothing in his mental side of throwing strikes today. He looked like he was just throwing to throw, and you and I both said it, Jacob.
Yeah.
The focus was not there. The focus was not there.
Yeah, exactly. And another point that you made that was really good, that he was working too fast. He looked like Landon Roop out there. Only one of our pitchers that works like that quick is Roop. He's a worker. He just gets it and let's go. But
he likes to do that.
Strikes.
You can see that adrenaline coming in between pitches. Birdsong looked like he got the ball back. The sign was there, and I'm throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he just fell right into it.
He fell into it. The camera was coming back, barely getting a view on him, and he's ready, winding up again. I'm like, dude, it didn't seem like him at all. It just seemed like he was out of place, like he wanted to get off the field. Like, but to go up that bad and throw your team under the bus that bad, like, yeah, it was really bad. And
so what do you think they should do, Jacob? Go send him to AAA and maybe try Carson Wisenhunt? Maybe they got to try another young pitcher?
Yeah, that was right out of the gate. One of my first thoughts, I was like, dude, he has to be humbled. He has to be humbled again. Maybe if he's worth some kind of trade value, maybe I would, and I'll give him another chance, send him down. We've done it before.
They have to. I just think from the mental side of the game, the mental side of the game, he's burned out. You can just tell he's flushed. And the eyes, I was watching his eyes. His eyes were moving all around, and you know, as a pitching coach, you go out there and you look at the pitcher's eyes. That's the first thing you look at. If they're focused right on you, they're focused, and his eyes were moving all over the place. When you saw Bailey go out there and you saw Chapman go out there and Adames, he had his glove over his mouth. His eyes were just flashing. And I'm like, man, this kid's scared. He just wasn't determined today. And I felt sorry for him. I still feel sorry for him. I do, because he's 23 years old. You don't want him just to go down to AAA, and next thing you know, he's burned out. He's got a lot of ability, and you do feel sorry for kids like that. You do, because he's got that magic. He's got that big league stuff. But Jacob, what do you do for Birdsong right now? How do you play it?
Well, that he just needs to be humbled, and then maybe be even humbled more down there. Not automatically get thrown right into there again. It's just going to take time for him, because at this point, this wasn't just a one-off. It wasn't a second off. It was multiple. It was multiple, and
7 starts.
You're speaking as a pitcher. Yeah, you came from you've pitched, so you know exactly what you're saying. You could read a pitcher, because that's what you did for a living. And the focusing,
well,
like
also,
Ramos.
Once I got out of the game, I became that pitching coach, and I became that pitching coach that went out there in between innings and talked to pitchers and explained to them what was going right, what was going wrong. And the guys that were focused on you knew exactly what you were talking about. The pitchers that didn't, that were listening to the words and they were going in one ear and out the other, they didn't last. And today I just saw that look in him, and to me it looked like he was fear of getting worse, fear of throwing a strike to hit a home run. It just didn't look good complete.
You would, like you said it earlier too, you would rather give up 5 straight hits, 6 hits, than just throw scared. Like, you got to trust your defense. Put the ball in the zone. You might get ground balls, easy ground balls. You got to trust your stuff. He couldn't throw a curveball. That used to be his thing. That used to be one of his
He didn't throw one today.
Because
he didn't even throw one today.
I thought he threw one, but it went straight
sliders.
to the dirt. It didn't even hang at all. It just went straight to the dirt.
It was nothing. It was a curveball that never snapped, but it was mostly all fastballs. 6 strikes, 25 pitches he threw. That was it.
When he did throw a fastball, it was right on top of the zone, perfect. And then all the Braves, they knew it. They knew that he had no command. So that's when he hit the fastball. That was when they had the double, and Acuna scored from
Baldwin.
first. And then that was another point that I was going to ask you.
That ball was up a little bit too, Jacob. That ball was up a little bit. He just got head of the bat on it and drove it out to right center field. That was a BP fastball right there for him.
And I heard you mention earlier that you said that Acuna wasn't, if they were paying attention or if they were focusing more, he shouldn't have scored that easily. Because I didn't see the play.
Hell no, he went right through the stop sign. He went right through the stop sign. He had a good lead at first.
He knew
hit
that
second base right when that ball hit in right center field. He rounded third, and Chapman, on the view that I saw, Chapman's pointing, hollering. And what Bob Melvin said was Casey Schmidt never said anything to Willie Adames when he caught the ball. So Casey
So
Schmidt
that's why he
learned
caught it
second base,
casually.
that
They didn't
communication again. Never
That
said
goes
anything
back to it. And then the ball was Lee and Ramos. I think Lee was looking at
Yeah, I
Ramos,
still
but there's
don't-
just no communication. I don't know if it's a language barrier or not. It might be.
No,
but
I really
there was
think
no
Ramos said
communication.
I got it, and I think Lee just kind of backed up
Lee
because
was
you
looking
saw
at
Lee
him like,
look
"Are you
at him
sure?"
and he backed up. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
he did. He
That
was looking at
painful
him
to
like,
watch.
hey, he had a look of confusion. It was painful to watch. It was, man, and it seemed like it was just
Yeah.
coming from a team like that with that much star power. Even if the record speaks different, star power like that in a hit-friendly park, you already knew it was going to be an uphill. And then with Bivens, I
Well,
think he was
Jacob,
just
thanks
tired
for your
already.
time tonight, buddy. Thanks for your time tonight. We brought up a lot of points up again, and you know what? We'll just see what Landon Root does tomorrow, and let's hope they can break this 6-game losing streak. Thanks for your time. Now let's go out to Hawaii and talk to my buddy Bert. Bert, you're on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky tonight. The water is not running too well for the Giants right now. They're short in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I'm speechless, Bill. But I'm not sure why I'm calling, but I'm speechless. But anyway, with that said, I do have a lot to say. You know, actually, this Giants team they're like this every year, though. I think since 2022, 2023, 2024.
After they won 107 games, after they'd won that 107 games season, it's been a roller coaster.
But it's always been they start off well the first half, and normally the second half they go downhill, and so it's been like this the last 2-3 years already. So we're seeing the same.
Of course, sure.
Because
Bert, when yesterday when I did my extra inning post-game show, I said today was the 100th game. You got 62 games left, and it was 62 games left after yesterday. And when I was saying it, this team, literally, they had 52 wins. You got to win 30 games to get to 80, right? So you're looking at half the games just to get to 80. Now you're just wondering, can they get to 80? That's the first question.
Yeah.
Now you got 61 games. So you have to win 30. You got to win 50% of those games to get to 80 wins. And that's going to be a tough road.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look, and we're 2.5 staff of San Diego, and like I said before, San Diego's got an easier schedule than the Giants for the rest of the season. It doesn't look good. My thoughts just for what to do, I think the Giants just got to stay the course. This is the hand they've got. I mean, basically, I like the starting lineup with Jung-Hoo Lee start leading off and kind of, just keep that lineup the same and
I like
see
that
what
too.
happens. I mean, So
and before the game today, Bert, Dave Fleming was interviewing Bob Melvin, and he said, I want to get a routine. I want to get a set routine and see what my offense guys do in that place. And you and I have been talking about this, Bert, for a couple of months, to get a set lineup and let them roll off each other. They're scoring some runs. They are definitely scoring a little bit lately. They scored 6 yesterday, 3 on Saturday. Today they score 5. They're starting to mount a better attack. But now we're watching the pitching staff falter a little bit.
Yeah. And so basically what's going to happen is Wisenhunt got to come up, whether he's ready or not. Wisenhunt is the next guy up. And, the other bad thing, I guess, for the future is just that the sad thing is that we gave up Harrison. I mean, too bad we couldn't have given up Birdsong instead of Harrison. But Harrison looks like he has the more potential than Birdsong. Birdsong,
but Birdsong had to be in that deal. That was the thing. They had to get one of the top line pitchers. That's why. Guess who's over there? Bailey's your pitching coach with Boston. Don't forget Bailey is your pitching coach, and he was here for a few years, so he knew what was in the minor leagues. He knew what Harrison had compared to a couple of the other guys. Of course, they wanted Eldridge. They wanted Carson Wisenhunt. Those were the first 2 names that were. Then Posey said no, and then they start chipping away with some names, and Kyle Harrison's name was in it, and they said he was the name really in that whole trade.
Who, Harrison, you think?
Yeah. Jordan Hicks.
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks was a salary dump. Jordan Hicks right now is scuffling even in Boston. I think the Giants took Farhan picked him up to be a starting pitcher, and it failed. And it failed with him going to the bullpen. He didn't want to be a bullpen arm in the end. So, that was a name that was thrown in there. You take him, I'll take him, and that's kind of how that wavered. A couple minor leaguers that were pretty good players got thrown in there. I just still think Rafael Devers is going to do damage in this lineup. I just believe this guy. I just have watched him for many years, and he's a beast. He's a beast in the lineup. He's going to get hot. I really believe so.
No, but yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But, it's the people surrounding him. I mean, again, I go back to Chapman is a good hitter and stuff, but he's average. Schmidt is average. Shrimpsky's average. All of them. I mean, really the Giants is, their hitters are not they're not that good.
You're looking for better averages, Bert. That's what you're looking at, higher averages. I mean, you looked at that Blue Jays lineup, and everybody was 260, 270, a couple 285s. And again, tonight against the Yankees, they scored 4 runs in 1 inning. That's what they did to the Giants for 3 straight games, and they did it to the Yankees today, too.
Yeah, one other thing, and not to jump on Birdsong again, but he's trying to make a living, so I feel sorry for him as well. But a couple weeks back, or a couple starts back, he had talked in his post game about the force and how the force wasn't with him, and that kind of sounds like
the force stopped him. The force stopped him from throwing strikes, is what he said.
Yeah, no, that's Bull Durham kind of stuff that he's talking about, and oh boy, that makes me worry.
I did the post game on that show, Bert. I listened to it, and I said to myself, "We're bringing Star Wars into this now." That kind of took me by surprise.
That means. Thanks, Bill. Nice talking.
Well, Bert, thanks again, buddy. Have a good night out in Hawaii. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Let's go to Todd. He's in Fresno. Todd, you're on with Bill Lasky on KNBR. Talk to me, my friend. Oh, Todd dropped. All right, let's go to Greg up in Portland. I know Greg's got some good stuff for me. What's up, Greg?
Hey, you surprised me. I'm eating. Yeah, when I heard,
you still got an appetite after that game, Greg?
I said I got time to finish this salami in my mouth. So I want to talk about. There we go. I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects. This is. We don't need to talk about pitching tonight. That's gone over. And I like it, but the other aspect of defense and what I like to call the M's. The M's are returning. We're going back to Zahidi ball, Kapler ball. There are M's out there. They're not on the score sheet. They're not on my computer here looking at the box score. But we're starting to do that with increasing.
Are you talking about mental errors here?
Yeah,
Greg?
mistakes on the field when we're playing.
People don't understand what M's mean. So M's mean mental
that's
mistakes.
My talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, we got to have the audience know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when I hear Dave Fleming say mental errors, I just say those are M's. If we had a statistic, we'd have E's and M's. And boy, we're starting to do that again.
Yeah, there was a few of them tonight, and the fly ball to left center field. I think Jung-Hoo Lee, I think Ramos called that ball. I really do. Jung-Hoo Lee was right there, but he pulled back, and I think Ramos. I don't know if Ramos thought he could get over to catch it or not. And Elliot Ramos is in a daze in left field. We've been talking about that for a few games now. End of the first half, he hasn't been playing good defense. In Toronto, made a couple boo-boos in the outfield. Ran into a ball, line drive over his head. Tried to dive for a ball. He didn't need to dive. Today, flipping a ball over Willie Adames' head and then making another error in the outfield. I really believe Bob Melvin's probably going to put Matos out there to give him a day's rest. I think the mental drain of it. Like I said earlier, Greg, a couple good friends were at the game in Atlanta. They were by the dugout, and they clipped a picture. And at the end of the game, the whole dugout was clear, and Ramos was sitting there with his head down. That shows me a lot of stress. That shows me a lot of pressure that he's putting on himself.
Well, that's really what I wanted to address tonight. Are these mistakes that have returned to the team, and Jung-Ho Lee has been a tremendous player, kind of one of my heroes, and now he is not only hitting, but now he's making mistakes, which I just would never believe even a week ago. And Ramos was fine.
So did I. Thought he was doing great.
Outfielder up until about a month ago. And
about the middle of June. Middle of June, he started making the physical errors, overthrowing cutoffs, throwing to the wrong bag when he should have split the runners. And you go to your M's, and that's exactly what that is. That's a mental mistake. And today he made a couple of them. And again, his batting average now is down under 270. It's about 265, 260. His batting average has gone down south. I just think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself, and you could tell. Nobody's getting in anybody's faces. I think everybody wants to, why don't they get in their face when they come in? Because that's not professional baseball. That might be high school ball, college ball, when a coach goes and gets in a guy's face. You're not going to do that at the big league level. You see a lot of coaches going over there putting their arms around him.
No, you don't do that. If you do it, it's even more damaging to the team.
Exactly. And that's what I think a lot of callers hit me up. Why don't they go and tip the spread? Why don't they throw chairs around the locker room? That's not baseball. That's a mental side of a game that you saw 30, 40 years ago. They don't do that anymore. They don't scream at you. They don't holler at you. They try to make it simple and how to correct it. That's how you change the game. That's how you make yourself better.
You've only talked to me on the phone. You don't know me. You certainly never played with me, and I never went past sophomore year in college in sport. I never, and I played in the 70s. I never responded to the yelling and the hollering, the Woody Hayes, and that kind of crap. I never responded to that kind of coaching. And I'm as intense as anybody. I'm an intense competitor in my old age, listening to the Giants on the radio. But I never responded to that. I needed
and you don't do that at the big league level. This doesn't happen. You just don't do it at the big league level.
We had lots of guys like that in the 70s and 80s, and even
of course we
really,
did. I
even
tell
up
the
until
story.
10 years ago, we had the holler.
Yeah, I told a story the other day about managers coming in because our food was on these 8-foot tables in the middle of the dugout or in the middle of the clubhouse, and they would come in and flip spreads over, hot food, cold cuts, and they used to scream, "You guys didn't play good enough to eat." I mean, and those were meaningful things back in the 70s and 80s. That's what they did to fire you up. They don't do that anymore, and people don't understand that. It's a teaching game. It's a learning game. It's adjustments, and that's what this team needs. They need focus. And how do you get focus? Maybe you sit your tail down one game. Maybe you need a day off. Maybe you need a little day to recover. But, Greg, this team has to do something. They're falling fast. And as soon as they fall under 500, it's going to get ugly. And let's just hope this team can turn around. But thanks for your call once again, Greg. Always a pleasure talking to you. We're going to take a quick break on Sports Phone KNBR. Got about 5 callers on hold. I want to get to those. And I also want to bring Jeff Young on. Of course, he's my guest tonight. Of course, we hear him on this show a lot. Of course, he works with Fanside with SF Giants. Covers the draft extremely well. So we're going to talk about the draft and some of the players they signed, but that's later on in the show. I'm Bill Lasky. We're going to come right back with some more phone calls right here on the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Now Baldwin has got 5 RBIs tonight. Swings at the first pitch. It's a high fly ball left center in the ballpark. Miscommunication and it falls. Lee in the end made a late dive and it dropped in front of him. My goodness, Acuna scores as he was able to take off with 2 outs. Baldwin will end up at second, and it's 9-3 Atlanta.
Back on Sports Phone with Bill Lasky. Tomorrow, first pitch, 4:15. Landon Roop on the hill for the Giants, 6-6 with a 3.27 earned run average. 96 in the third innings, 99 hits, 35 earned runs, 89 strikeouts. Last 2 starts have pitched really well against the Dodgers. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Got the loss in a 2-1 game on Saturday. He ended up beating the Philadelphia Phillies. He went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and that was a win that the Giants won 3-1. So he's going up against Davis Daniel, a young 28-year-old rookie. He's only thrown 5 innings in the big leagues, 4 against St. Louis in a start where he only gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run. His first outing was just 1 inning against Arizona. It really did anything but get a strikeout. So he's working in a second start in the big league level, 28-year-old right-hander, and we'll see what the Giants can do to him. First pitch right here at 4:15. All right, let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to Berkeley and talk to Andrea. Andrea, Hayden Birdsong's the big question tonight. What did you see out of your buddy?
Yes, well, I'll share the cosmic perspective here, Bill. We have Mercury retrograde, which is basically just started July 17th, goes till August 11th. Virgos are ruled by Mercury. And we also had Mars in Virgo to its Mercury. What is Mars? Important planet for an athlete, energy, assertion, aggression. Mercury is how you communicate, and you hit the nail on the head when you talked about command issues. He was just all over the place, just really irritable and not able to focus, just nervous irritation and more impulsive than usual and more impatient. And that Star Wars comment, I thought that was kind of interesting, too. He was all over the place.
Well, all those words you just said, Andrea, fit perfectly into what happened tonight. All those words did. The focus wasn't there. The concentration wasn't there. The confidence wasn't there. Those are all things as a pitcher. When you're walking out of that bullpen, you're like a bull. Let me out of this gate. I want to pitch. And when you get in that dugout and you got everybody high-fiving it, you don't want to let your team down. You want to fight, and you want to fight till the last pitch you threw. Today, I did not see that in him. And I was talking earlier about his eyes when the shortstop Adames went out and third baseman Matt Chapman went out and Patrick Bailey went out and he had his glove over his mouth. His eyes, I was watching, just rotating to all of them. It was like a fear that I saw in him. And they were just like, come on, throw strikes. Come on, let your defense help out. Come on, you can do this. All positive things to get this young kid back into what they knew he could do. It just didn't work today, and I think it's time that he has to go back to the drawing board, and he's probably going to be optioned to AAA. There's nothing that he can do at the big league level when you can't get anybody out with six hitters, and it wasn't even close.
Right. I mean, his concentration was totally off, and this transit occurs once every 2 years, and it goes on for several more weeks. So on a higher level, AAA wouldn't be necessarily a bad approach. It's just that Virgos kind of, beat themselves up if they don't succeed, and, he'll be really mad at himself. But,
well, Andrea, 23 years old, Andrea, that's another thing that we all keep thinking about. He's 23 years old, and he has not been an established big league pitcher. He hasn't been in professional baseball less than 3 or 4 years. He hasn't been out there yet to compete for a full year, and I think that's one thing. They know what he can do. His stuff is major league level. The curveball, the changeup, the slider, the fastball, mid-90s, everything's there. But as we always talk about, there's another side of pitching, and that's a mental side. And I think the mental side got to him today. And I think that's what hurt him. And let's just hope that he kicks it. Let's hope he gets down there in AAA. If he is sent down, we don't know what the objective is with the Giants. I'm speculating. But I think that's what he's going to have to do. Take some pressure off of him and get back on the mound where he can get people out. But, Andrea, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Roy in San Lorenzo. Roy, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just a little disappointed in these 6 straight losses, seeing them go backwards more than forward. And I think that's what Giant fans are seeing, talking to them all through the weekend on my extra inning postgame show and even tonight. I think frustration is what we're seeing. I think this team is much better than the way they're playing.
Well, yes and no, Bill. The reason I say that is because, and I wanted to get in and talk to you. The last time you and I talked about a month ago, I told you about Birdsong, but you wanted to cut him some slack and stuff. What it is that the man he got the tools, but the mental stuff is not there yet. And I told you, I said, well, Bill, I just think that they should either put him in the bullpen, let him pitch 1 or 2 innings when somebody fails, or else send him back to the minors. And you wanted to cut him some slack. But like I told you, and then we were talking about, I said, even Tristan Beck had better mental makeup, even though he doesn't have the stuff that Birdsong has. But basically, what I wanted to talk to you, Bill, is obvious that the Giants are not going no place this season. What I'm saying is that I just think that the Giants need to trade off a few, not get no big-time veteran players, but at the minor league level, somebody like that could hit right-handed, like that guy on the Red Sox, like that guy Roman Anthony. Now, he's going to be real good. I'm saying,
yeah, but
make
he's a
trade.
first-round draft pick too, Roy. He was a top prospect. He's in the top 100 prospects.
I know.
You have a couple
I know,
of those. You got Bryce Eldridge down there, but I think what you're trying to say is, what are you going to trade off? What are you going to trade? If the Giants start trading people right now, who would be the number one player that you think teams want? Who do you think it would be?
Okay, they would want possibly somebody in the bullpen, not that kid that made it to the All-Star game. I mean, you'd be crazy to say him.
Right.
But what I'm saying is still Walker. And then that other guy, his last name started with a B. I can't think of his name right.
Bivens? Spencer Bivens?
Him. Okay, yeah, you could trade him, and then maybe that guy named Angeli. I mean, it's pieces that clubs.
Yeah, but it's you're throwing names out there, and I don't think those are all established guys that a team would want to beef up a bullpen, especially if you got teams in the top part of each standing in their division. They're going to want a big name. They're going to want a Robbie Ray. They're going to want a guy like that that's going to come in and help their rotation. They're going to want to add a piece like that.
Okay, then what I'm trying to say, Bill, is that get ready for next season, because it's obvious that the Giants are not. Actually, this time last year, they were playing in some ways better than they are now. I mean, the way that they're playing. I mean, But what I'm trying to say is
they're still they're still 3 games over 500, Roy, but that's not helping them right now. It's starting to creep up to be a 500 team, and like I said earlier, in their last 50 games, they're 23-27. You could go back even closer to that. Their wins and losses are not helping right now at the end of June and even July. They're just playing 500 or below 500 baseball. And this has to get better if they're going to make any kind of attempt to get to the wild card. There's still time. There's 61 games left. But what we're seeing today and for the last 5 games, it's not going to manage. It's not going to get any better, Roy.
Okay, well, we'll talk toward the end of the season, Bill. All right, take it easy.
Yeah, no problem.
Right.
Thanks, Roy. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Brooklyn Bob. He's at Sutter Creek. Brooklyn Bob, you're on Sports Phone Monday night with Bill Lasky. What's going on?
Well, good night. Good evening, Bill. It's a beautiful night up here. What they say, red sky at night is a sailor's delight.
No, it's nice out. It has been. I like the cool weather. I don't like that hot weather like in Arizona, but I'll take the cool weather in Northern California any day.
I've been here for 50 years, and this is the coolest July ever for me. Anyway, I want to talk baseball. I don't want to talk about the inability of tourists to drive in San Francisco. As we did the other day. But here's the deal. Baseball is a game of failure. The best hitters fail 2 out of 3 times. Everybody's ready to throw the team out with the bathwater. I don't believe that. You just said 61 games left. I used to tell my little leaguers in the 3rd inning when they had their heads down, boys, it's a long game and a long season. Do not give up.
Oh, I agree.
I see a lot of positive things. Even tonight, I didn't see when the pitching imploded because I went to the bathroom at this restaurant. But Bailey hit a rocket, and that shortstop jumped up and got it. A foot here, a foot there. That may have gone to the wall. And, the new guy from Boston, sorry.
Rafael Devers had a good night. He's been ever since the All-Star break. He's swinging like we think he can, and what we've seen in the Red Sox, a good hard swing, putting the ball in play, less strikeouts. His swing is definitely coming alive, and that's what I said earlier. I really believe he's going to be a spark to this offense, and I think the offense has gotten better. Bob, Willie Adames is getting hot. Matt Chapman's starting to swing the bat, but it's got to be everybody. It can't be 1 or 2 hitters. And then you look at the other side, Bob, as we talked about the other day, was the pitching is starting to falter a little bit. The pitching is starting to get tired a little bit. The offense has to pick them up now.
But, like in 61 games, they can gel. Devers, he had 2 guys on base. I thought it was a 2-out rally. And the guy before him just got hit by a pitch, and he swings at the first pitch and hits a charity hop to second base. So maybe a little patience, but I think this is going to come along. This is a good, solid team, in my opinion.
It is. I agree.
I still think Jonathan Lee is going to be a great first bet. I love his open stance. That I think he got sucked in, in the first month by hitting a couple out of the park. With that open stance, he should be able to see every pitch, take some walks, slap the ball.
I just wish he would hit the ball down instead of up. We see too many fly balls out of him.
Yeah.
Today there was 3 fly balls. One to left, one to center, one to shortstop. And I'm saying hit the ball down. And then what was funny about that, Bob, is when he hit the ball off the end of his bat and just scribbed down the third base line and he gets a base hit out of it, Javi Lopez said, I wish he would bunt a little bit more. Look at the speed he has. And I think all of us would love to see him try to lay a ball down. Same thing with Yaz. Bailey does it once in a while when the third baseman's playing over to shortstop or playing deep. That's an easy base hit, and I think that's what they got to dwell on. Try to get people on base somehow.
Yeah, I think he will find that adjustment. Now, people have to remember, this is really his first full season in the major leagues.
Right.
Okay? He's also getting used to all these different parts. All the different angles where he could put it in left, put it in right. I think he's going to come right around. Devers is going to start hitting. Yastrzemski could hit 100, and I still love him.
Well, let's hope for the best, Bob. Let's hope for the best, and let's see if they can change this around tomorrow and get a win. They got 2 more games on this road trip, and let's break this 6-game losing streak, Bob. But thanks for your positive thoughts. I always appreciate that. Let's go to Adrian in Danville. How are you tonight? A tough game tonight and a tough 6-game loss.
Yeah, it is really frustrating. And, like when the pitching is good, the hitting is bad, And then when they hit, the pitching is bad. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, and I hate to, just like, no, but, somewhere along the line, somebody has to be accountable for this. It's going to be the whole season. Last year, I just wish that somehow Melvin would wake up. I don't know, I just like, I know you're not going to, blame Melvin or anything, but, just, if the manager doesn't get some of the blame.
Want to, Adrian, I think people want to blame the skipper because the skipper's the one leading the team. And when you see teams that are frustrating and teams that are making mental mistakes, physical mistakes, it also flows down to the coaching staff that are coaching defense and coaching different things from hitting and pitching. And it does. It's not just Bob Melvin. You got to look at the whole coaching staff and saying, is everything's being accountable? Those things, if they're all being accountable and these guys are understanding what mistakes they make and how they adjust to change them and focus a little bit more, then you have your coaches in line to do that. Bob Melvin's the captain, the leader. And you're absolutely right. And there's ways that the managers get fired in sometimes like this. But Bob Melvin just got an extension. Buster Posey's got all the faith in him. So do I. I love Bob Melvin as a teammate and as a personal friend. And I think he is doing a good enough managing job. But I think it really lies on some of the players that aren't giving their best. And the word focus, like I started, is the same word, and I'm going to end it with they need better focus.
Okay, going back on the players now, like you said, I was not in favor of bringing Yaz back because he's still swinging for those pitches that I don't know what he's doing.
Elevated fastballs and breaking balls down.
He's just like, oh my God. And then, Ramos, he was bad in center field also, not just in left. He was a terrible outfielder. I don't, hey, listen.
Yeah, there's been a couple things that he's been going on. But, Adrian, I got to cut you off. Call in some more. Love to talk more baseball with you, but I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to wrap the calls up, and I'm going to bring on Jeff Young, talk a little bit more about the Giants game and see what he sees, as well as the draft. The Giants have signed 17 players already, and Jeff's been following that, so we're going to get some information from Jeff Young. He's coming up next right here on the Sports Leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045. Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
I'm back on Sports Phone KNBR on a Monday night with Bill Lasky. Giants lose the first game of a 3-game series in Atlanta, 9-5, 9 runs, 8 hits for the Atlanta Braves, 5 runs, 12 hits, and 2 errors for the San Francisco Giants. Willy Adames was the hot hitter today, going 4 for 5 with a home run. His third home run on this road trip, as he has been sparkling at the plate. 7 for 16 with 3 home runs today, another 2 RBIs. Giants failed. They've now lost 6 straight. Tomorrow, first pitch right here on KNBR at 4:15. Landon Roop against Davis Daniel. So we'll see if the Giants can snap this losing streak. So let's talk a little more baseball with my good friend, of course, fan-sided expert for the San Francisco Giants at Round the Foghorn. Let's bring in Jeff Young. Jeff, how are you on a Monday night?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing okay. After that first inning, 80 pitches. Both teams were struggling with the strike zone. 38 minutes for the first inning. I was a little scratching my head. It got bad, and it got worse when Hayden Birdsong went out there.
Yeah, that wasn't a good game for the whole pace of play thing that Rob Manfred has going on right now. But yeah, I mean, Birdsong came in with the lead. There was just way too many non-competitive pitches tonight, and he just, incredibly, he couldn't get out. He walked 4 batters. I think he hit another. I mean, that was about as rough as it can get for a pitcher. And I think the good news is that there's only one way to go from here, and that's up for Birdsong.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some changes, and especially when your bullpen had to cover 8 innings also, Jeff, and I think that was a big question mark, especially coming out of Toronto. They've had a couple of issues in Toronto where the bullpen had to come in and save the day. Tristan Beck the first night going 4 1/3 innings. He pitched again tonight well. Spencer Bivens threw yesterday. They had to call him on. So there's some tired arms down there. What kind of changes do you think they'll make?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a roster move before tomorrow's game. I mean, you just can't have a bullpen throw 8 innings and not have any reinforcements coming in. Fortunately, today was an off day for most of the minor leagues, so the Giants should be able to get a fresh arm up there pretty quickly. But I think there's got to be a move, and it could be somebody like Spencer Bivens. He's thrown a lot of pitches over the past couple of days. They left him out there a little bit longer than I think I was comfortable with today, but he gave him a couple of innings, and I think that's all they could have asked for. But it does feel like there's going to be a roster move before tomorrow's game.
Well, the guy that's really been pitching well down there, Tristan Beck, they've given him a lot of opportunities. He pitches in Toronto, goes 4 1/3, giving up only 1 hit, 2 punch-outs. Today he comes in, cleans up a little mess with 1 out, goes an inning and a third spotless with 2 strikeouts. He's been throwing strikes. He's been getting after it. Today, 12 pitches for strikes out of 19 or 13 out of 19. But I think a little more confidence coming out of him. He's throwing that slider a little bit better, and he's got the slurve to get it on the outside corner to right-handers. Have you seen a big plus on him?
I think the biggest thing for him is just being healthy, and he had an injury last year that was really scary that he fortunately recovered from. But this could be a really nice opportunity for him with the way the pitching staff is going right now. He's throwing the ball pretty well, and all of his pitches are back to their pre-injury form. So that's a pretty good sign. And if he keeps throwing well, he could earn a larger role in the bullpen, or maybe even get a starter or two down the stretch here. But yeah, his pitches look good. He's always had pretty good command. It's just a matter of really being able to stay on the mound and just be effective. But yeah, he's been throwing the ball well so far.
Jeff Young joining me on Sports Phone KNBR. You can follow him on X at Jeff or Baseball Jeff, BASEABALL Jeff #1. One of the things I saw on one of the tweets you threw out there was about Elliot Ramos and his defensive numbers. I'd love for you to explain the analytic numbers you threw out there and what is going on with Elliot Ramos in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. You don't really have to dig too deep into the analytics to see that it's been a rough season out there for Elliot Ramos defensively. The good thing is he's hitting the ball well, but if you're looking at the defensive metrics, they'll agree with what the eye test is seeing, and he's just been really rough out there. He's been the metrics, whether it's defensive run saves, outs above average, fielding run value, they all point on being one of the worst left fielders in baseball, and that's just really a tough spot because left field is kind of a position where you can kind of hide an outfielder, but it's getting kind of hard to hide somebody like Ramos if there's a misplay or two like the ones he's had recently every week, and they've been occurring far too often so far.
Jeff, when you look at the metrics, does it show the direction of where he runs to the ball, if he's making bad routes or not? Does it show the metrics on anything like that?
There are some metrics out there, and I know he's not the most efficient route runner. He doesn't really get good jumps. He used to be able to make up for it when he was in the minors. He came up actually as a center fielder, but he was also a little faster back then. So if he had a poor read, he'd be able to make up for it just by foot speed. But that foot speed isn't there anymore. So if he has a poor read, it's a lot harder for him to make the play. And I think that first step, which is just really key to being a good outfielder, that's what he's lacking. And oftentimes he's also not taking a really efficient route to the ball as well. But that first step is really what stands out to me.
I think what also expands it a little bit more are the mental mistakes. Throwing to third base instead of splitting the runners, missing your cutoff man. Today it looked like he was calling for that ball. You saw Jung-Hoo Lee kind of back up a little bit, and then all of a sudden Jung-Hoo Lee was trying to reach for it because I didn't think Ramos was going after the ball hard enough. It was a strange play in left center field, but those are all little mental mistakes, and those add on to those metrics.
They do, and it's one of those things. It doesn't show up as an error in a player's stat sheet, but that's clearly a misplay on somebody's part, and whether it's Ramos calling for the ball or Lee or just there being a miscommunication. It's a shame that somebody like Ryan Walker got tagged for the earned run there. I mean that's a fly ball that should have been in the inning, but instead he gets out with an earned run, and that ups his ERA a little bit. So. Just a rough play all around defensively in outfield tonight.
Well, watching Willie Adames, especially on this road trip, he's been hot. 7 for 16, 3 home runs. The swing pass seems like he's going away from that outside pitch. Even though he swings at that slider out of the zone away, he's really making better contact. He is not missing that pitch across the plate today. 4 for 5, and that last ball looked like it was going off the wall, and then it kind of sprayed in the corner. He hit the ball extremely well tonight, and I'm really happy to see this is turning around. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, there's always going to be a little bit of chase outside of the zone, especially those low and away sliders. That's something that's always been there. The thing that stands out to me is just something he wasn't doing earlier in the year, and that's just barreling up the ball to left field. He wasn't pulling the ball in the air, and that's where his power plays. That's where it played in the past, and that's where it really has to play in San Francisco. He's just pulling the ball in the air a lot more. I think his home run today was a ball down the left field line. So that's a good sign. That's really playing to his strength. That's really the type of hitter that he needs to be, and that's where he just wasn't doing that consistently enough earlier in the year.
Jeff, do you like the new lineup that Bob Melvin threw out there Sunday against right-handers, having Jung-Hoo Lee again lead off, and then more of the power in the middle, 2, 3, 4, 5? He put Adames as 4, Chapman as 5. Yastrzemski's just having a bad first 4 games here. He didn't play one game in Toronto, but so far on this road trip, 1 for 12 today. Just had some miserable at-bats, rolling over a couple balls to the pitcher and to second base. Do you like this lineup? Do you think this is the strongest lineup the Giants could put out there?
They can mix it up a little bit, especially if they're facing a left-handed hitter, a left-handed pitcher. I don't know if Jung-Hoo Lee should be batting leadoff. And I think they should go with one of their better, hitters against left-handed pitching, guys like Casey Schmidt, who's not necessarily a speedy guy, or like Ramos, but both of them do really well in those matchups. But, I don't know if I get too focused on the lineup. I think it's just about making sure that the best matchups are taking place at the top of the lineup, and the less opportune matchups are lower in the lineup. So Jung Hoo Lee, I mean, if they're facing a lefty, I feel like he has to bat lower in the lineup. If they're facing a righty, I think it's fine to have him, lead off. But he just really hasn't been hitting all that well this year.
Jeff Young joining me for a few more minutes on Sports Phone KNBR. You've been following this draft extensively. You've been doing a great job following when they sign and all the players so far. I do believe I read today 17 players have signed a major league contract with the San Francisco Giants coming out of college and high school. Tell me your thoughts about the first 5 or 10 players. What do you like? Do you see anything that could really help the Giants in a short term?
Yeah, I mean, I think fans will be excited to hear that the skill that the Giants really coveted in this year's draft was low strikeout rates and contact skills in the zone. I mean, that's been one of the bigger complaints about the Giants in recent years, is that they strike out too much, and the guys that they targeted are guys who can really help the Giants in that category. Now it's going to put a lot of pressure for some of these guys because they don't hit with a ton of power. It's going to put pressure on their batting average to really carry a lot of the weight in terms of producing offensive value. But there's a lot of very contact-heavy guys out there in this year's draft for the Giants. Guys with some speed, and I mean they're going to put the ball in play. A lot of these guys, and they're talented.
Yeah, I think that's what I think we're going to see that, Jeff, when especially they signed a few college players and the slot money. I always like looking at that because back in the day there was no slot money. It was how they negotiated with you, and some teams would pay more, other teams didn't. The slot money kind of keeps it even. Of course, the first round pick usually gets about $5.5 million, a nice signing bonus, and then it kind of trickles down. When is really the trickle down? About 10 into it before it kind of falls off? When is really the money starts being shorter?
Yeah, so the slot value system only applies to the first 10 rounds. Any pick after that, so rounds 11 through 20, teams can offer up to $150,000 as a signing bonus. Anything above that counts against the team's bonus pool, which is the allotted amount that they have to spend. And teams can overspend that pool by about 5%, and the Giants every year are right at that 5% threshold, but you never, and no team has crossed that 5% threshold because it would result in a loss of future draft picks. The Giants are, in this year's class, they had signed 17 out of 18 picks, and they're right at that 5% threshold, so they don't really have much left over to sign the remaining pick.
Well, you do a great job on that, Jeff. I've been following what you've been seeing when they get signed, and a lot of good players the Giants have picked up. But you do a great job, and I'm telling people, you guys got to go take a look at Baseball Jeff #1 and some of the things that he writes on X. And another great job today, Jeff, by filling us all with that information for the draft, and I just want to commend you on that.
Well, thank you. It's very nice.
That was Jeff Young on Sports Phone KNBR. I appreciate Jeff, and we're going to call it a show now. Giants lose today 9-5 in Atlanta. They play again tomorrow, 4:15 first pitch. Landon Roop, 6-6, 3.2 earned run average going against Davis Daniel, a rookie at 28 years old, 0-0 with a 1.8. He's only pitched 5 innings in Major League Baseball, giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run. We'll see if the Giants can snap this 6 straight losses and see if they can get in a win column and try to win the last 2 games of this road trip. I want to thank Kyle Harr that produced the show, Jordan picking up all the phone calls, and you Giants fans for calling in. I appreciate your calls. I'll be on Friday when the Giants come home to face the New York Mets on another Sports Phone post-game show. And, of course, over the weekend, the Extra Inning post-game show will return. Thank Jeff Young for coming on from Fanside and PPP. The podcast that he goes on, and it was just a good show. But again, I leave you with focus, and we try to talk about this in the beginning of the show of what the Giants need to turn this around, and I'm still going to say it. They need to come out and focus tomorrow and play a better brand of baseball, Giants baseball, and let's see if they can win tomorrow and snap this 6-game losing streak. For Bill Lasky, be safe, be well. More coming up next right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.